Welcome back to Lost Cause Ranch, guys. Today we're back on the 109 Nada. Last video on this guy, we picked it up in Michigan. This is a 55-year-old Land Rover. It is number 475 of just 811 Nada. That's North American dollar area. 109 Series 2As made. So that's why we decided it needed to be here at the ranch. The main focus of today's video is, can we get this thing running? 15 years, 55 years old. Will it start? It is a typical Land Rover of this era. Bulkhead is chooched. She is junk. Frame is also not good. So she's gonna need some work, but that's the way it is on one of these old things, especially one that lived in a snowy area. I mean, it's back in another snowy area, but we took it from a different snowy area. We don't know much about what was going on with this one, but the previous owner, I believe, passed away, but he was collecting some bits. We have a new fender or wing, I believe, called across the pond. We got some headlight grills. We got some stuff up here. We also have some service records as well. Up top there you can see there's some walnuts. This was a good storage facility. Tons of room if you want to warehouse some nuts. I'm assuming this came from like the 70s with some psychedelic mushroom wallpapering on the back. That's pretty neat. Got our winch control. She's a little snowed up and we're missing some of the brake drum stuff. So we'll have to see if we can find the parts to restore this. It is a, we'll get it, oh, it's iced up, but it is a Bellevue winch for the Rover group. This is pre-worn era. So this thing needs a tremendous amount of work. Our goal right now is just to get it fired up, get some brakes, and hopefully get the clutch working. That way we can park it and be able to drive it under its own power. That way we're not having to push it around and whatnot. So running, driving is the goal. Then after we get the red 88 done and a few other projects, we'll start tackling this one. We just didn't want to see this one get dismantled, crushed, or left to rot more. It's rare enough, we wanted to save it. So hopefully starting this one goes better than the red 2A that we picked up, the old basket case from the estate sale. That one, that was a little locked up. She had one of the pistons in multiple pieces. So Ted went ahead and sucked out the squirrel house. Now it'll be nice and cold this winter. Got a different battery sitting in there. That is the remnants of what they had in the battery box, minus a fruit snack wrapper. That's from us. Air cleaner's off. You think you can get it running? It's 55 years old. Been sitting for 15 years. We'll give her the old college try. All right, so we made sure it has oil in it. We're gonna see if it cranks over. Spins by hand. So let's see on the starter. That's a good sign. I think we may be able to get somewhere today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a little visit from the Ether Bunny. See if we can get her to pop off. Well, it's left its mark on the pavement, right out the exhaust, right there. We got our rust spray. That's normal, right? So we got Ted in there looking at the numbers on the block so we can see what we're working with here. This has a GM 6-cylinder swapped into it. Doesn't have the factory 2.6 liter. From my understanding, this was a fairly common upgrade back in the day because when the 2.6 gave up the ghost, the parts availability just wasn't there. So a lot of people put the old 230, 292 whatever this is, we'll try and find out. And then probably order a starter over, because this one is probably not long for this world. Doesn't want to turn over too much. Then we'll get it popped off. You saw it there? It almost ran. I think we're going to be on to something. So by the numbers, we determined this was a 1970 250 cubic inch inline six, 155 horsepower, 186,000 squirrel power. And I think they all lived in the inside of this thing, but that 186,000 squirrel power should move this thing just fine, I think. That's the correct tool for that. So we got Ted over there messing with the brakes. So brake line was not hooked up to the master cylinder. And can't lean on that. That falls out if you lean on that. So we won't lean on the radiator. But now, it appears to have some squirt in her. So maybe we'll have brakes too. Maybe. Big maybe.
Air brakes.
It's got at least air brakes, as Ted says. No, brake pedal went to the floor, clutch pedal went to the floor, so we'll have to sort those out as well. Ted's got the starter out. Let's go take a peek at that. He's a big boy. And yeah, got one coming over from the local parts store. They're in stock because it's a Chevy, and they're like 50 bucks. So how can you beat that? We got all the good stuff on this guy. Right there is a Chrysler reservoir bottle, GM engine, and a whole bunch of Land Rover. And here's how the hydraulic line for the clutch was not connected. So I'm gonna throw that guy together. Just got the good flex line down there. Oh, shop towel. Bone dry.
Now do we look under to return it out?
So got the new AC Delco starter, a whopping $41. Ted went to put the new one in and it just don't fit. So, doing a little peek-see here. Looks like they had to modify the original starter. So we'll have to cut that snout off and give her a little clearance. She's got a little rubby. So there it is, all clearanced up. You can barely even tell. Nah, but should fit now.
Yep. Yep. Oh, hold on. I lost my cap.
Securely mounted.
Well, I think it's hitting the fucking
Fan.
again. Yep. Yeah, it's the radiator.
That's the nothing.
That's the nothing. Or the fan, but it's, yeah, it changed when.
That's bigger than a rod now.
Oh, look at that.
Ah!
Again? Again. Oh. Good enough. Get the fuel system figured out.
All right, so this one fires up. So we'll sort out the fuel system now and get some actual gasoline in there instead of some starting fluid. Our initial thoughts that it might have had a little bit of rod knock. It was pretty noisy on the first startup, was the radiator bouncing around and the fan bouncing into the radiator. So good news!
Like walnut stuff.
Went to drain the tank and there is 0 in it. Hasn't been any in it for a minute. Been a minute since that guy's been on the road. So there, sat for 15 years. Fuel tank, bone dry. Ted ran a few, probably a gallon of fuel through the lines before hooking it back up to the carb, just to clear out of the junk. Then it just fired right up. And now that the fan's not hitting the radiator, it doesn't have a rod knock. Weird. No. Good old Chevy 250 in the Land Rover. Ah, doesn't like the throttle. Got the left brake light, it works, good enough. Well, she's got oil pressure, that's for sure. That right there is by far my all-time favorite electric fan install. Oh, we got her zipped to the side. She's good, she's solid.
Hold it down.
Down.
Pump it up. Hold it down.
Down.
Look at this thing now. Is this an old Land Rover too?
Yep.
What year is this? In the 60s?
67.
Pump it up.
So you plan to put this thing running?
Oh, no.
Does it really?
Yeah, move's a different story. That's what we're working on now.
All right, so where we're at right now is Ted's trying to get the clutch to do something. So the original line was kind of collapsed, not allowing fluid to go through. So we had a replacement made up this morning so we can try and get some fluid through it. Starting to get a little bit of a pedal after bleeding it some. Brakes, we got some brake. So running, got a little bit of brake. Now we just need a little bit of go with the clutch. And this thing should be able to zip in and out of the shop under its own power.
So you can't tell if like it's actually loosening up. Like the pivot point,
or
clutch is pushing back.
Clutch is down. How are the brakes?
Brakes seem okay.
So it's got brakes, it's got running, just don't have a clutch that works. Sounds impressively good though, just for some fresh fuel. Ted fixed the oil leak, so it has a mechanical oil pressure gauge, and you can mechanically see it had oil pressure dripping from the bulkhead. Block that off so we no longer have oil pressure, but we got some amperes. It is charging. So that's pretty exciting though. 55 years old, sitting for 15 years. Got it running, got it stopping. Don't have it driving yet. We will do that another day. But for now, we need that spot for other Land Rovers. So, we'll use the Jeep, do a little Yankee pulley pull, and get this thing back outside for the time being. This thing is comical. So we got our oil pressure gauge right there, but no matter where it is, it leaves walnuts. You open a door, a walnut falls out. We've cleaned out 300 walnuts and there's still more. That squirrel is probably pissed that we moved his stash back to Iowa. So I guarantee, like a day after we picked this thing up in Michigan. So there we have a running 109 Nada. Exciting. Glad it went better than the red 2A that we got. That one wasn't good. When we get some more time, we'll sort that clutch out and maybe we'll putz this thing around the block once. I mean, probably put tires on it too. Tires, clutch, putz it around. Then she's gonna get laid up for a little bit, but before that, we'll get this guy cleaned up and we'll see what the condition really is when we get it in the air and sprayed off. So catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. That squirrel went back to his stash and was like, shit, it's gone, all my hard work.
Oh, nuts.
Oh, shit. That's nuts.